language. No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world.
You write your first draft with your heart. And you rewrite with your head.
Seize the day.
Greetings and salutations. This is the Writer's Showcase. This is the show where we gather a group of different writers of different genres together. We have a roundtable discussion about the writing process, the ins, the outs, the positives, the negatives, the advice, etc., etc. But we also have a lot of fun by taking your questions. So don't be afraid to ask us any questions in the comments or the live chat as we go throughout the course of this program. If this is your first time here, welcome. Do not forget to like and share this with your closest friends. And if you're joining us live or on the replay, hello there. As one might say. I know that's going back to the 70s. I wasn't there for that. But still, I'm your host, Ryan of Anaco Channel, and our guests on this episode are some of the most magnificent people in the entire world. Please welcome a member of the asylum known as Crazy8Press.com. The lunatics are running the asylum. No. The Crazy 8 Press people are running the asylum. Please welcome best-selling writer Aaron Rosenberg is here. Hello, Aaron. How are you, good sir?
Hey, good. How are you?
We're fine. We're all fine here. No, thank you. How are you? There's a catchphrase that goes back to the 70s. Once again, I wasn't present for that. I'm dating myself. But still, we're happy to have you here, Aaron. And also joining us on this episode of the Writer's Showcase, more specifically, joining us all the way from, where is it? It's all the way out there. It's in the west, in the mountains somewhere of Oregon or something. I don't know. He's written 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got ideas for 50 more books coming your way. The best-selling writer of Cut Them Down, the Western book. And he's the CrossFit athlete and the strongest police officer known to man. TG Brown is here. What's up, man? How you doing, dog? How you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. You are going to give Bruce Buffer a run for his money with it being a hype man and whatnot. Like, you're just the best hype man on earth with these introductions. So thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you here. And the words of our good friend 007, we aim to please. Also joining us on this episode of the Writer's Showcase, a good friend of ours and a good friend of the Men's Adventure Fiction Discord, I would venture to say. Not Mr. Darcy, but Mr. Dawson. James Dawson is here. Hello, good sir. How are you?
I'm excited. This is my first podcast. Literally the mic, headphones, and ring light all showed up in the last couple of days. Set it up. I'm essentially an AV guy now, so that's blasting up my LinkedIn page right now. Just AV specialist.
What? Wow. Okay. Wow. In the words of our good friend Owen Wilson, wow. Well, first podcast, first time on national television in front of 2.5 people that watch this show. James, no pressure, man. No pressure. But thank you for being here and going the extra mile, but buying all this equipment and saying to the cameras, we're ready for our close-up, Mr. DeMille. That's going.
I'm willing it. I'm willing it to be able to do more of these as hopefully the writing career is on the verge of blossoming some more. So
that's that's awesome sauce right there. Honestly, I got to tell you something, man. You know, just by you admitting to that and for you to be so open and honest and admitting that to our kind folks on national television, we got to give you this.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
I mean, that's the most amount of kudos I can give you in the first 2 minutes of this show, James. But congrats, man. We're so happy to have you with us. There is no doubt about it. And as TG pointed out, I'm just pretty good at being hype man. So with that being said, we're going to be talking about the writer's process here, the writing process and all that good stuff. So with that being said, I'm going to toss this first question to the field, and I'm going to start over here with you, kind sir, known as Aaron Rosenberg. What makes a great book in your mind?
Well, preferably I prefer it to be on the page, really, not in my mind. No, I mean, a great book is one that sticks with you. You know, that's really what it comes down to. It's one that makes an impression on you. It's one that you come back to, whether it's literally going back and rereading it or just thinking about it. It's one that influences you in some way.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Like it. Short, sweet, and to the point. I dig it. Any thoughts on that one, TG Brown? What in your mind makes a great book?
Yeah, no, I mean, he kind of touched on it, but if a book impacts you in a way that it changes how you feel or how you think about something, or I don't know. I sometimes there's so many different things, but if it makes you feel something that you didn't feel before in a positive way, I think that's what makes a good book. There's various ways to do that in storytelling, but that's usually what I classify it as a good book. And like going back and rereading a book because it affected you so much, or you wanted to you wanted to experience it all over again because of how good of the book was. I'd say that's along the lines of a good book.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, James, I know it's your first day at school, and I know it's your first class, it's first period of the day, but I'm just curious. I'm just curious. What makes a great book? What do you think?
For me, it's a lot of it comes down to entertainment value. How much am I being entertained by reading? And when I'm writing, you're trying to entertain as well. The being inspired and having things stick with me is nice as well. But when it comes down to it, like am I turning the pages and like really diving into the words that I'm reading? So, are you not entertained? Straight out of Gladiator. That's kind of how I read.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good quote too. We should start using that. Producers, can we add that to our clips repertoire? Yeah. Okay. We'll get it on. We'll get it on set at one point. Great quote. What we do in life echoes in eternity. Sorry. Now I got some Gladiator on the brain. Thanks, James. It's going to be stuck in my head all night. Thanks a lot. But it's a good movie. So didn't it win like a bunch of Oscars that year? So yeah, well done, Russell Crowe. We love you, brother. Good stuff. Well, great answers. Great answers. No doubt about it. This next one, T.G. Brown. Where's your favorite spot to write?
My favorite spot to write along the Alsea River. Actually, I just went there recently this weekend. It's a little spot. It's actually the spot that I set my Western novel, Cut Them Down, the fictional town of Shannon. My wife and I have a little house that we go to. It's quiet. Sometimes we float the river, and it's just peaceful, man. I love the quiet, and I like the sounds of nature. Anywhere with the sounds of nature, that really kind of focuses me. And so that's my favorite spot.
All right, now I got to make a trip over to this place and be in serenity. So I gotta make a trip out there, man. I gotta make a trip to to the Pacific Northwest, somewhere up there. I gotta look at a map. I don't know where I'm going. I'm bad with directions. I'm sorry. But aside from that, Aaron, where's your favorite spot to write?
Unfortunately, it's a pretty boring answer because it's here, which is my office space, which is the back corner of our family room, basically in the basement. This is just where I'm most comfortable writing. It's where I have everything set up properly. I've got dual monitors. So yeah, I mean, I've written all kinds of places. I've written in airports. I've written in conventions on the floor. I've written obviously in like coffee shops and bookstores and things like that. But yeah, when it comes down to it, this is just the most comfortable one.
Understandably so. Understandably so. What about you, James? Where's your favorite spot to write? Is it in your brand new studio that you have with those ridiculously good-looking amount of books behind you and that new headset?
This isn't a bad place. We just moved into this house at the end of February, so beginning of March. So this is a new office space for us. So it's a nice getting accustomed to writing in here. But they're early mornings, 5:30 in the morning. We have 4 kids, so if I'm writing, it's before the family gets up at 5:30 in the morning for about an hour or so. But also, I wish I had TGs. Man, the outdoors and wilderness and the forest and the trees and the mountains and the body of water, like that's the writer's dream, I think. And then but I do a lot of my writing at some of our kids' practices. So with 4 kids, when they have a practice, son plays water polo at 2 hours 3 days a week. They're out there with the laptop and just cranking away at the page. And to me, I've gotten pretty good at being able to block out outside interference and outside noise and just write wherever I have to.
Understandably so. Man, 4 munchkins roaming around? Good Lord, man.
They're not munchkins anymore. We got 4, they're 14, 13, 9, and 7. So they're a little older now, but yeah, it doesn't mean, it just means the calendar's busier. It doesn't ease up.
Sorry, I misspoke. So they're not a dozen or so munchkins. No. These are actual donuts. No, I'm just kidding. They're human beings. They're not munchkins anymore. I'm sorry. I grew up going to Dunkin' Donuts with my family. We always used to get a dozen munchkins and donut and bagels and the whole nine. So we just like America runs on Dunkin', hashtag not a sponsor of this broadcast. Back in the day, my family and I used to run on Dunkin'. Not so much anymore because that's, it's old school. Sorry. They're still around though.
I want to come back reincarnated as my kids. Our oldest daughter just got back from Hawaii for a week doing a soccer tournament. weekend. My son is 13. He just went on a trip to Key West with my mother-in-law and his aunt and uncle. I'm just like, man, these kids live the dream. I'm out here in Southern California sweating my life out in 118-degree weather, but they're living it up.
Goodness gracious. Well done. Congrats to those youngins, as one might say. No worries there. No worries there. So and for those of you just tuning in, this is the Writer's Showcase on Anti Quote channel. Don't forget to like and share this with your closest friends. If you have any questions for us, let us know in the comments or the chat. And if you're watching us live on the replay, thank you for doing so. We cannot do the show without you. James, what is it you like to read the most? What do you read? What kind of stories or genres do you like?
I mainly read thrillers. I would say Jack Carr's been one of my favorite authors. A lot of his books right there. And then the mid-adventure fiction stuff from Nathaniel Hummel and Luke Goodrich and Terrence Leahy. Those are great. And then I also got Scott McCrae and Steve Stratton. Steve Stratton's a great guy. I met him last year at BoucherCon and spent some time with him. He's been really helpful and helped me. He's read some pages, and he and I go back and forth on a few things. So he's great. So mainly it's thrillers. And then David Putnam is a guy. He's a crime thriller writer. He's got a shelf and a half at the local Barnes and Noble. He's about an hour out from me. I've been part of his writers group for the last year or so. He lives, like I said, down in Temecula, about an hour away. So they meet on Thursdays, and so I read a couple of his novels, and they're great and real just grab you by the throat and don't let up till the end of the page. And so mainly it's in that realm.
Nice stuff, man. Awesome, good stuff. What about you, Aaron? What do you like to read?
So I alternate a lot, same as with my writing. So, I'll read a epic fantasy novel, and then I'll trade off and I'll do a mystery novel, then I'll do a hard sci-fi, and then, urban fantasy. Most fiction, honestly, I'll read thrillers, action adventure, comedies, superhero stuff. So yeah, just I don't like to read the same two things in a row. So, whatever I read last time, I'll read something different once I finish that one.
Yeah, understandably so. Got to diversify a little bit there. So,
Yep.
understandably so. Nothing wrong with that at all. TG, you have a pretty good idea because you have 3,000 copies of the same book behind you. But I'm just going to ask it anyway. What do you like to read exactly? That's not the old west of time. What else do you like?
Yeah, so big shocker. I love reading westerns and thriller. Also like James, I'm a big fan of the thriller genre. Jack Carr is another big one. I really like how he writes. He writes in a very gritty, visceral way, and it's just so enticing, and it just pulls you in right away. James Patterson, his first books were super. I mean, they're still pretty good, but he writes very quick, fast-paced cinematic chapters, and I really like how he writes because it keeps my interest the whole way through, no matter how long his books are. I read a little bit of Stephen King, some sci-fi stuff here and there. But yeah, no, I also am a big fan of the Dirk Pitt series by Clive Cussler, especially the earlier Dirk Pitt stories. I really loved those novels growing up as a kid. I have always wanted them to do a book, like a full-on TV series on Netflix about Clive Cussler's character Dirk Pitt, because I thought that would be awesome. So so a little bit of action adventure, a little bit of thriller. Those are probably my two favorites, along with the Western is kind of in there too. The Western genre I feel like could be anything. It can be a thriller, sometimes a mystery, sometimes there's just so many different facets of the Western genre. But
Yeah, that's true. Friend of the show, friend of the network, Bobby Nash. He's written Western horror stories. So he's got a series called Dante's 10th, Dante's Showdown. I forget what the name of the third one is. But if you visit BobbyNash.com, you can find out more about his Western horror series. And I also think Charles F. Milhouse has a Western horror series that he does. I think it's called the New Kingdom Trilogy, if I'm not mistaken. Charles, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's got something like that too. So you're right. You can take liberties with one genre and rope it into another, right? So that kind of happens all the time when I go to these things called conventions. There's so many books. I want to buy all 5,000 of them, but unfortunately we don't have that in the budget. Sorry, fellas. You can only buy so many bloody books. But they're a lot of fun, though, because, when we were little kids, we had the Scholastic book fairs. Nowadays, you can just go to conventions or book festivals and just buy up, what do you call them, tote bags, or some people bring storage totes with them when they go to these shows. Some of them bring cardboard boxes that they could just fill with as many books as possible, and then they just haul them and throw them into the car. So it's amazing. It's amazing. So many things have happened. We've evolved. With that being said, what would you say, Aaron, are some of the rewards about being a writer?
Well, I mean, obviously the fortune and fame, clearly.
Exactly.
No, it's no, the biggest reward for me, I mean, honestly, the thing that makes it all worth it is when somebody comes up to me at a convention and says, I read your book last year and I loved it. And, what else have you written? And they want to talk about it. I had a guy at this last show that we were both just at last weekend come up and tell me that not only did he love one of the books that I wrote that he picked up last year, but his book club is actually doing it coming up soon, which was amazing. So just like, what makes a good book for me. I mean, knowing that my book has affected somebody or influenced somebody in some way and that it stuck with them, that makes everything worthwhile.
100%. Congratulations on that, man. I'm glad you shared with
Thanks.
us that story because, Aaron and I were at Shore Leave last week. It was a great show, great convention. They're at a new venue this time around. They've been doing that for the last few years. The fact that, vendor hall's right down the stairs and it's all there, everybody's there. They got all their books, they got everything set up and everything respectively. It was a good show. It was fun. It was good to see a lot of our friends again, connect with some new people as well. I saw some new vendors there that were tabling there. Me personally, I have not seen before, but it's always fun. It's always fun. One of the guests who was there is actually going to be on this show, and I quote, in a couple of weeks. And she just had her happy publication day for her latest sci-fi thriller book. I believe it's called The Second Initiative. So congratulations, Alyssa. Oh shoot, why am I blanking? Where's I have it behind me. Hold on. Why am I blanking? This is so bad. Alyssa Hazel, that's it. There it is. I'm sorry. Alyssa Hazel. I have too many names on the brain. But congratulations, Alyssa Hazel, on happy publication day for the second edition. Well done. Just want to give her a quick shout out there. She was at Shore Leave. Yeah. Yay, everybody wins. Yeah, we're all winners here. And she's a winner, so congratulations. With that being said, what are some of the rewards about being a writer from your standpoint, TG?
Yeah, I think Aaron hit it on the head there with making contacts with people that that stories have affected. But I guess for me too, another one was really just the community that I've met through the books, the people that I've gotten to know from them, anywhere from the Men's Adventure Discord to just people I met doing marketing, and or going to book signings or book conventions or other authors. It's really cool to network and meet like-minded people that really love storytelling, love books, and then I've met several people I never would have met if I had never got into writing or publishing books. And it's just really cool. I think that was the coolest thing because I really love building relationships with people, and these books have really built a good relationship with a lot of different people because of that. So I think that was one of my biggest rewards.
Solid stuff, man. What about you, James? What are some of the rewards about being a writer?
Yeah, not to echo everything, but yeah, certainly a lot of the people I've met through the writing community. Attended BoucherCon last year out in Nashville. Had such a great time meeting so many different authors, and you kind of meet them through social media here and there, but then meet them in person and spend some time talking with them. I truly had a blast. Like I can get pretty introverted at times, and then this just kind of helps you, put yourself out there and kind of reassures you. Well, having nothing published from my end, it's kind of reassures me, like these. It's not I'm not incapable of doing this. It's just kind of sticking with it and putting in the work and keep pushing myself out there. And from the writing side, well, the first thing I wrote was probably 7 or 8 years ago. I wrote a middle grade magical realism novel, and we were watching with the young kids, watched a lot of Pixar movies, so I just kind of took the Pixar formula and wrote, oh, what's a middle grade novel? 30,000 words? That seems doable. And I wrote this novel that, like I said, just kind of followed the Pixar formula. Guess what? There was a dead mom and a family trying to grieve and through some magical realism, go on a journey to kind of get that closure and help move on. And it's a lot of fun. But 3 of my kids have read that book. It just sits in a 3-ring binder, and they've read it and they've all enjoyed it. So that's kind of a cool reward on that aspect. And I've also, the next thing young adult, that's 50,000 words. Okay, so I did a NaNoWriMo and did a young adult mystery about kind of a cult that moves into a mountain town that takes over like a high school. And I think one of my kids, I think the oldest kid's read that one. I'm not sure if my son has read that one or not. But so just kind of have my kids read those ones is nice. And then as I've been working through the more natural adult writing, the thriller genre, it's been kind of a battle just learning more of the craft and editing and getting sharper at that stuff. So that's kind of where the rewards have all been. A little more personal than getting validation from others at this point.
Oh, there you go. That's understandable. And you keep the more you do a certain thing, you practice a certain skill, the better you get at it. So practice makes perfect. We've all, I'm sure we've all heard that before when we were in elementary school. That's going way back.
Yeah, and asking for help.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was talking about David Putnam earlier. He was at
Mhm.
my local Barnes and Noble, and it's right across the street from my work. And I just happened to walk over there on my lunch just to kind of, you stare at covers, you kind of read some inside jackets, you see what's out there. And he was sitting there at a table, and I started talking to him a little bit about what he was writing, about one of his books, and he was like, he's telling me about this writers group that he holds at his house, and invited me along. But that was in January. I think around the summertime, I was like, yeah, I should probably reach out to him and see if that's something I could do. And he returned my email right away. Yeah, come on down. Here's my address. We meet on Thursdays. And there I was sitting at a table doing a round table with a bunch of other writers. They're writing everything from memoirs to sci-fi to thrillers. And it was just, I've learned so much from that group. Just sit around the table, you read your 5 to 10 pages, you get critiqued, and it's all good. But I've learned so much from doing something like that. And that's just putting myself out there and saying, yeah, I got to learn this and get better.
Yes! That's awesome!
I mean, it really is, man. Honestly, well done, James. Well done. That's great stuff. I wish we had more stuff like that around my area. I mean, maybe there is. I just haven't found it yet. But I want to join writers groups like that and hang out every week and go over each other's work, give everybody constructive feedback. Right? I don't think that's.
Yeah, and everybody's coming from a place of, they want to help you. They're not trying to tear you down or anything like that. And everybody's, oh, I like this, I like that. I was down there a couple weeks ago, and I was working on a new novel that I'm like 54,000 words in. I was on my second chapter, and I read the first chapter the week before, and this chapter I read it. And one of the ladies, she's like, well, I like the part about the dog. And that was like the nicest thing she could say about that chapter. And I'm just like, okay, thank you. It's just, and then she kind of gave me some feedback on things that didn't work for her. But then a couple people later, they were, someone else in that group, because, it's such a subjective art. It was just like, this is great. This is good stuff. I wouldn't change a thing. So, just kind of take what they say and just kind of put it all together, just suggestions, and move on.
That's true. In the words of our good friend Morgan Freeman, he's right, He really is. There's a meme on social media. We've used it before. But once again, this is an incredible episode thus far of the Writer Showcase on Antico Channel. Don't forget to like and share with your friends. If you have any questions for us, let us know in the comments. And if you're joining us live or what is known as a replay, hello there. Welcome. Great stuff. So opposite side of the fence, though, Aaron, what are some of the biggest challenges about being a writer?
Well, I mean, one of them, obviously, which, we've all kind of touched on to a degree, is that it's a very solitary profession. When you're actually writing, it's just you and the keyboard. And it's very hard. I mean, there's imposter syndrome for all of us. I mean, I've done 50 some odd novels at this point, and I still get imposter syndrome. Because you sit down at the keyboard and you have this blank screen staring at you, and you're trying to figure out what to do with it, and you're constantly beset with these fears of what if this is awful? What if I'm awful at it? What if this sucks? What if no one likes it? What if no one reads it? And to a degree, because we're almost always like readers as well as writers, because we love the written word, you're also reading books that are great. And so you're thinking to yourself, what if I can't write like that? Like, oh, this book is so amazing, I'll never be able to match that. So, there's a lot of uncertainties involved. And then it can be a very long, very grueling process to get something out, to get these books out there, and, trying to get them out to the right people. There's so many books out there right now, as your TBR stack demonstrates. There's just so many good books that you're just this one voice sort of calling out in the wilderness, hoping to get somebody to pay attention to it, hoping to find the people who will appreciate it. And there's so much luck involved in that, and there's so much patience and persistence, and it can be very, very wearing on you to do it.
For sure. Yeah, definitely can be wearing. It's not always easy. Definitely not always easy. What about you, TG? What are some of the challenges about being a writer?
Yeah, first of all, it's nice to hear from a veteran like Aaron that you still struggle with the imposter syndrome, because I'm a newer author. I'm getting into it. I still feel that. And I'm like, man, is this ever going to go away? And so it's good to know that it won't. And so now I'm prepared. So thank you so much for that. But but yeah, no, I would say that the consistency, right? To continue your craft and continually try to grow your craft every day and trying to better yourself as a writer every day, that can be hard. It can be hard to try to do that every single day. The discipline to sit yourself down and dedicate an hour or whatever time you have to write and try to better yourself. I think that's always been hard for me, and just trying to remind myself that your writing's gonna be it's gonna change somebody's life, right? I try to tell myself that this book's gonna be good, and that positive thinking, and I think that's probably one of the harder parts. And of course, it being solitary, like Aaron said, that's hard to do. Like with fitness, like you can have workout buddies and things like that that can keep you motivated. But with writing, it's a little different. It's you can have writing buddies, but ultimately you have to write the book yourself. Like so they can only carry you so far, and you have to really really love what you're doing to dedicate yourself to writing a full length book. So
Valid points. Valid points. What about you, James? What are some of the challenges about being a writer?
A lot of it comes down to just kind of breaking in and understanding, the process of it all and how it's certainly, with the adage, it's a marathon, not a sprint, is I think 100% accurate for authors and understanding this. And I couldn't tell you how many query letters I've sent out and just that slog of rejections and having that thick skin to understand. There's a little nice feedback on query rejections and also some, just the 90 days past this, days don't go and you close and move on and just kind of keeping at it and understanding. One of the things Jeff Moore says that always sticks in my mind is you can't guarantee if you put in the work, he can't guarantee you'll get published, but he can guarantee you won't get published if you don't put in the work. So, it's just about staying with it and grinding it out, really. And that's something I've really been trying to focus on. And then also, I've been trying to grapple with writing feels to me like it's the only independent artistic endeavor where if you do make an independent movie, if you're like, oh, that's cool, let me see it, oh, you got Sundance Film Festival, you got this and that. If you're independent musician, oh, indie band, but then when you sign the big contract, you're a sellout. But somehow for writers, if you want the validation of getting the publishing deal with Simon and Schuster or one of the other the Penguin, that kind of stuff. But then if you put out an independent book, somehow it's like, oh, wait a minute, you don't have the validation. So I've been trying to talk to myself a bit more about that. Like, no, it doesn't mean anything. Like that's not accurate. There's a lot of great independent indie authors that do it for various reasons, and they don't need that validation from the big publishing house. And I respect that a lot, and that's something I'm really understanding more and more about doing. So I'd say that's kind of the big challenge, is just kind of understanding that mindset of the publishing industry and what I want out of it.
Definitely. It's a big world out there. Lots to do, but so little time. So many ways to do it as well. Good stuff, gentlemen. Good stuff. So here comes a question I'm sure you've heard maybe once or twice before, but once again, this is going to be tossed over to the field. Aaron, what advice would you give to aspiring writers out there?
Well, part of it's what James just said, honestly. It's don't give up. I mean, that really is, he's absolutely right. This is it's a marathon, absolutely. And it's something that you get better at. And the other thing is that I would say, and again, I mean, this is kind of dovetailing perfectly with James, there's so many options now, so many more options than there used to be. It used to be that nobody self-published. It used to be the only way in was major presses. Now there's small presses, there's self-pubs, there's author collectives. There's all kinds of ways to do this, and it provides you with a lot of opportunities to really sort of tailor it to what fits with you, with your style, with your books, with your publishing schedule, with your needs. And it's great. I mean, it's really in that way, it's a great time to be writing, but it requires research. It requires you to really look and see what those options are, rather than just going for the first one you see or the one that you happen to know about. You really need to talk to people, and it is one of the great things about writing is that, as the other guys have already said too, this is a community. People really help each other. It's you do every once in a while run across somebody who feels that they need to sell their books by climbing over your back. But most people in this industry are so willing to help everybody else, and It really is the rising tide lifts all boats. So, get out there, ask people, talk to writers, both other beginning writers, but also established writers, find out what worked for them, and then tailor it to your own needs because everybody's path is going to be different.
That's very true. That's very true. Very true. What about you, James? What advice would you give to aspiring writers out there?
Uh, Control A the whole page and just hit delete. No, no, I'm just kidding. Just yeah, like we just all just kind of touched on, Aaron, myself. Just you gotta just grind it out and don't take everybody's advice as gospel. Take their opinions and what's worked for them, and then see if that tailors to you and see if that works for you. Whether it's someone recommends save the cat, and the next person recommends tips for the selling writer, and the next person recommends this book, and then the Stephen King book's great, and there's so much out there. You can read all the how-to books you want, but until you sit down and start putting what's in your head out on the screen, or write with the legal pad, however it works for you, until you start getting that out there, that's when you start learning it. Is take the notes. I certainly got my fair share of self-writing books and guides here, but you read a little bit and then start cranking out on the page and see how it flows. Read it back to yourself, print it, and hand it to somebody you trust. And my wife's way smarter than I am, and she reads. She's the first reader, and I sit there like, oh boy, how's this gonna go? Because sometimes I write some pretty wild things and thoughts that come out of my head, and just kind of sit back, and she'll look at me. Really, that's the line you came up with? Like, yeah, that's what came out. So and, that's the fun part. But yeah, have fun with it, enjoy it.
Mm. Yeah, that's just, and before we turn things over to TG real quick, I want to piggyback on something you just said, James. Yeah, have fun with it, man. Honestly, I mean, yes, it's a process. We learn as we go. We develop our skill and our craft as we go. But at the same time, if I got an idea for a story and I start writing it, I want to have fun writing it. I just go for it. You just go. I mean, some people, plot their stories out, or they do, layouts, or outlines and things of that nature, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong way to go about it. But if I got these ideas for a story, which I have these little notebooks over here off to the side of my studio, and I write my ideas down, even though I don't have all the details, but it is an idea. So you start with an idea, and then you start, mapping out the other pieces of it, and it just eventually comes to you. And then when it starts flowing, like the floodgates, man. As soon as it starts flooding and those waters are coming in, you're just like, all right, I got to get to my laptop and type this stuff up now, son. Got to get on it. So that's just my opinion on that. But then again, everybody is different. Every writer is different, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to go about it. But PG, what about you? Any advice you would give to aspiring writers out there, other than the fact that maybe we shouldn't let our wives read our stuff before we publish it? No, I'm just kidding. No, go ahead. Piggyback off of that if you want, but go ahead. What's your advice you would give to aspiring writers out there, whether they're married or not? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but, man, you guys hit the nail on the head on a couple of things that I was thinking. Great advice from you too. But I guess for me, a piece of advice I heard is that you are building a relationship with your readers, and I think what that means when I hear that is like you're building trust with your readers. So take that seriously when you're writing your book. Every page, every word that you're using, don't waste their time. Like, their time is precious, and if they're spending their time to read your book, take that seriously when you're writing the book and make it the best possible thing that you can put out there. I think I think that was Jack Carr that said that. I don't know what author I heard that from, but early on when I was in my research phase before I published any books, that always resonated with me. And it just pushed me a little further with every book, that I was like, okay, like every book you build trust with your readers. Like if you just kind of lackluster one of your books, you could lose a lot of trust. So you really should, every single thing you put out there, it's out there forever. So you need to take that seriously. And like I said, like they were saying, have fun with it. Definitely, it should be fun. Like if you're on this writing stuff, you're not having fame or fortune. You're doing it because you love it. But you should take it seriously though as well, because I think storytelling, it is an art and all that good stuff, but it should be something that when you're out there and you're doing it, you're putting your best foot forward every single time. That way, when your name is across the front cover of the book and you're the author, people go, yeah, that guy, like James Patterson, that book's going to be good because whatever he puts out, it's going to be good, And I think when you develop that kind of trust with readers, then you can kind of really sprout out your wings as an author. So I'd say that would be my piece of advice.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I got to start reading some of these books you've thrown. Was it Jack Carr and Clive Cussler? Yes, I know. Clive Cussler's been around for hundreds of years, but Ryan hasn't read a book that's been written by him yet because if you can't see behind me, the TBR pile is nuts. All right.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you on Clive Cussler. It's another author I haven't gotten to yet, but he comes up all the time, and I'm like,
all the
I've
time.
seen Sahara. All right, I've seen
Yeah, I
Sahara.
saw the Matthew
So
McConaughey movie.
That's the best I got. That's the best I
There you
got.
go.
And
You're
I
all
said, I
set.
got to get there. I got to get there. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, yeah. And then TG's shaking his head like, bro, those are
Sahara's
rookie numbers
not-
in this game. You got to pump those
Sahara
numbers
is
up,
not
man.
like the books.
No,
it's
no,
not
that's
like
what
the
I've been
books.
told. Sahara has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the books, like at all.
Yeah, I would say McConaughey is a good Dirk Pitt in
I
that,
think he's
but
good.
other than that, like it was not what I pictured when I read the books. But
It's not what you
it's all
pictured.
right. It's all right.
All right. All right. Hey, at least they tried. They tried.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
work, but they tried. That's what Hollywood likes to do, right? They try, and 9 times out of 10 they fail. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks.
It's hard
Hollywood.
it's hard to make a book that's 10 hours into 2 hours in a movie. I mean, so it's hard to condense all that. So it's quite the challenge they have.
Jeez. I mean, they've taken what was it? I'm trying to think of who the other writer was. They've taken some of Tom Clancy's stuff, with the Hunt for Red October. That worked. I mean, it's a solid movie. I mean, granted, you got a Scottish guy playing a what is
Russian,
it like Russian sea captain, and it's Sean Connery, which but when but at the same time, you're like, you know what? We're not semantics. Don't worry about it. It's Sean Connery. He's the man. Just let him own it. We share into history. I mean, it's just let him do it. Let him do it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm trying to think. I think it's my favorite of the Jack, not counting the TV series, but of the Jack Ryan movies, I think Hunt for Red October is my favorite. I think it is.
Yeah.
Patriot Games is good too, but the rest of them, varying degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, Harrison Ford was good in Patriot Games. I didn't really care much for Clear and Present Danger, to be honest with you, but I did like him in Patriot Games. So maybe it's because Sean Bean was in it, and Sean Bean likes to get killed off in everything he's ever in.
Pretty much.
You know who I'm talking about? Sean Bean is just a great actor.
Yeah.
He
That
likes
is
to
his
get killed
role.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has it written in his contract. Thou shalt die at the end of every movie I'm in. I don't know. Did his agent work that out? I don't know. Does anyone know about that? It's someone in the backstage area. Let me know. By the way, someone in the comments section is here. Knee Jerk Production says, I'm sending you guys some love and support. I'm following all your social medias and reposting things. Ryan, I'm plugging your TikTok into the author community I'm a part of. You'll have more than you can deal with soon. Oh, boy. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Knee Jerk Productions? I'm not sure. But we'll find out as we go along. But thanks for following myself and these other fine writers here, such as Aaron Rosenberg, T.G. Brown, and James Dawson. Sorry, I got ideas for your name, James. I don't know why, but they're just coming to me.
Well, good. I'll take them.
Honestly, when I think of, there's Dawson's Creek, there's Mr. Dawson, there's there's Jack Dawson from Titanic, even though it doesn't end well for his character at the end of the movie. # that's a spoiler. But still, it's a strong name. I'll give you credit where credit's due, brother. I don't know. When I think of stuff, something just comes out of me. But here's one for you. If, for example, Aaron, if you could have dinner with any writer, living or dead, who would you want to have dinner with and why?
Probably Mark Twain. One of my all-time favorite authors. Amazing individual. Incredibly influential, incredibly bright, incredibly sharp sense of humor. Huge impact on the world of literature, but also on the world of culture and politics and even technology. He was a huge sort of basically angel investor in his day, constantly supporting all kinds of new entrepreneurial projects, most of which failed, basically built fortunes and lost fortunes repeatedly. But I just think he would be amazing to sit and talk with.
Wow. All right. Classic author. Yeah. I read some of his books. They're good stuff. I'm not going to lie. Mark Twain he's been very, very good to me. Classic literature, very, very good to me. T.G. Brown, if you could have dinner with an author who's living or maybe 6 feet under, dead, but we can bring him back, though. We can bring people back from the dead. People do it in Hollywood all the time. If you could have a dinner with someone, who would it be and why?
I've already mentioned him a couple times on the show, but Jack Carr. I'd have to say Jack Carr because
always has to go back to JC.
I thought you were going to say Clive Cussler. So
I thought you were going to say Cussler there for a minute.
Well, here's my reason. I really like what Jack Carr has done in his marketing scheme, and him being a Navy SEAL and former military, and me being in law enforcement. Him and I seem to have a lot of similarities in there in that world, and so I just think him and I would get along well. And so I love his podcast. I love everything that he does. I love his books. I love the TV show that the Terminalist that they turned into a show. And yeah, no, he's just he's very gritty. I think I got a lot of my ideas for any of my action scenes were from a lot of Jack Carr books, because he writes realistic yet entertaining fights in his books that just pull you in. And so I was like, oh yeah, I really want to emulate that. And yeah, no, so I'd have to go with him. I think there'd be a lot we could talk about, both writing related and in our chosen professions outside of writing. And yeah.
All right, note to self, add Jack Carr books to my wish list on thriftbooks.com. All right, we got to get on that, guys. Get on it, guys. What about you, James? No pressure, but if you could have dinner with an author, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Well, before I get that, I'll jump in with TG here for a second. I met Jack a couple years ago down in San Diego at VoucherCon. I just went down for the day because it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from my house. Drove down Saturday morning, 5 a.m. And I was just there to see what the writing community was all about. Like I said, I just kind of started writing in the thriller crime genre. And so I went down there because it was close to my house, spent the day down there. And he just happened to be there signing books at a table. And I just kind of waited till everybody was gone. I walked up, and he was so gracious with his time. He talked to me for about 10, 15 minutes, just asking me what I wrote and what I was into and what I do for a living, and just had a ton of questions. And he just couldn't have been a nicer guy, more generous, and just, yeah, nice conversation. Said about 10, 15 minutes, and then off he went. So yeah, I think he is who we think he is from the interaction I had with him. With that said, my author I would do is Hunter S. Thompson. I would buy the ticket, take the ride. It might be my last dinner of life, because you just got to go all in with Hunter S. Thompson and see what that kinetic, frenetic, substance-induced life is all about that he lived. He was probably the first author I read a lot of their stuff on, whether it was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, whether it was Hell's Angels and Rum Diary, that kind of stuff. I read a lot of his books and his work, and just a fascinating guy. Seeing how that guy lived is absolutely insane and wild. But yeah, it'd be an entertaining dinner, to say the least.
I would venture to say so. I mean, I'm thinking of the characters in a different movie where they say Vegas, baby. Vegas.
That's Swingers. Yeah. That's Swingers.
Yeah, yeah. This is the problem with TG. He's never seen the flipping movie. It's one of the best movies ever
Vegas.
made.
There's a funny scene where Benicio del Toro's in the bathtub, and he's asking Hunter S. Thompson to throw in the toaster or whatever it is while he's in there, and he ends up hitting him in the face with a grapefruit. When I read that on the page in the book, I was laughing out loud. It's written so hilariously and funny. I was like, dang, that's a damn good page. And yeah, it's good.
Wow, Vegas, baby, Vegas. Yeah, TG, you got homework to do, son. What? I'm sorry, I'm gonna knock on him for this for a while. He's not gonna live this down until him and his wife actually.
What homework does he have? You brought it up a couple of times now, so I gotta know what homework he has.
I know he's got so much, man. He's got to see. Well, the first time I told him about this movie, when was it? Like 3 weeks ago. We were in the Discord. We were just chatting it up, and I dropped a GIF. I think it was James or something like that. And TG was like, "What is that? What is this? What does that mean?" I was like, "Dude, it's a form of encouragement. If I tell you you're money, you're so freaking money."
Oh yeah.
Okay. Like I dropped the "you're so money you don't even know it" on him. He's like,
"Yeah,
what is that? What does that even mean?" I'm like, "Dude, it's a form of encouragement, man. It's me giving you like pointers. I'm giving you kudos." So if I walk up to Aaron or anybody at Crazy A Press and I tell them, "I'm telling you, you're money. You're so money you don't even know it," they're probably going to look at me like I'm crazy. But then I'll explain to them, look, if you watched a cinematic movie in 1996, it's called Swingers with Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau. You will not be. What am I trying to say here, Aaron? You're not going to be. You're not going to be disappointed if you see the movie. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. Have you seen it before, Aaron, or no?
Yeah, I have.
All right. See, Aaron gets it.
Dang it! I was hoping you say no.
Sorry, TG. Yeah, throwing you under the bus.
Yeah. Aaron gets
Dang it!
Aaron gets it. He gets it.
I know.
TG and the missus over there, they're like, we live in the Pacific Northwest. We're like, we prefer nature as opposed to movies. But listen, man, I'm all for being one with nature and having total serenity, because aren't there a couple of songs written by Serenity by being out in the wilderness? But you got to sit down in front of your flat screen and just watch the flipping movie, man. It's so good. The trash talking scene when they're playing video games. I mean, my gosh, James,
Yeah, that's good.
hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Like I could not stop laughing because it's how good it is. But anyway, not to give any more spoilers, because I may or may not have just ruined T.G. Brown's evening. But outside of that, this is the best episode ever in the history of the Writers Showcase on Epic Quote Channel, also called The Re-Education of T.G. Brown. Don't forget to like and share this with closest friends. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments, and if you're watching us live or on the replay. Excuse me. Thank you for doing so. The Dutch Star Wars guy is here. He says, "I'm just saying, hey, how you guys doing?" Dutch Star Wars guy. That's also Case. He is the man responsible for these backgrounds, these overlays, these thumbnails that you see on our YouTube channel. This is him. This is all by his design.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah, he is the Mac Daddy of them all. The Force is so strong with him, he doesn't even know it. Boom! I just made up a new catchphrase on the fly, TG. This is how good I am at show business. So,
crushing it.
Case, we love you, man. Thank you so much for everything you do to support the channel and support the shows. I mean, this background with all the books and stuff for like the 4-person overlay, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Can I just live in that though? Can I just live in a library full of books and not worry about anything else ever again? That would be great. That'd be fantastic. Let's put a little Beauty and the Beast and get our own library or something. Who knows? I mean, if Belle can have her own library, why can't we, as a community, have our own library to ourselves? Honestly, just.
Yeah, we haven't arrived until we get that ladder that goes across the whole bookcase.
Yes.
That's when you know you've arrived.
Can we get one though? Does anyone know where we can get one off on online or Amazon or eBay or something? If anybody knows where we can get one, let me know. We'll buy one and then we'll put it in the library once we get it built. Maybe T.G. Brown knows people out there in the Pacific Northwest. We can build something. We can build it together. Who knows? I'm sorry, TG. I don't mean to call out the Pacific Northwest, but that's where you live, so I can't help it, man. I can't help it if you're there. Outside of that, let's focus. Now, if I could have dinner, I'll answer the question. If I could have dinner with somebody living or dead, I'm going to go with Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens.
Classic.
Yeah, because one of the earliest memories I have of writing something known as book reports when we were in this little thing called school, just throwing that out there. I wrote a book report on Great Expectations, and it was great, and I freaking love the book. I actually like the PBS, it was a BBC adaptation of the book. They did a TV series of it. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Feel free to look it up. It's really, really good. I think they posted it to YouTube not too long ago. Hashtag don't tell them I said so. But it's a good miniseries. I think the actors did a really good job with what they were given, and Great Expectations is one of my favorite classic pieces of literature. So that's my answer to that question. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I mean, you mentioned Mark Twain, so it's kind of like, okay, well, Mark Twain's good. I'm going to take your card. I'm going to raise you, Charles Dickens. Okay, I'm going to raise you, Charles Dickens.
Totally fair.
Just saying, Aaron. I'm just saying. Speaking of which, Aaron, here's one for you. Favorite characters you've written so far?
I mean, you want to be in love with all of your characters in one way or another. So, obviously one of mine for me is Duck Bob Spinowitz, who's the main character in No Small Bills and then the 3 sequel novels. Just because he's just ridiculously fun to write. He's the character I have written the most, just because 4 novels plus something like 8 short stories at this point. And no matter how much time it's been since I've written him, the second I start writing him again, he's back in my head. I can hear him. I can imagine everything that he's doing. So he's kind of my perennial favorite. I love a lot of my other characters, but I do seem to always want going back to Duck Bob.
Nice. I can dig that. What about you, James? Favorite character or characters you've written so far?
I'll go with. Like I said, it's not going to matter because there's a stack of papers here. So Zane Bruce, he's my protagonist, my detective protagonist in the crime thriller. I just got the developmental edits back on. Just a lot of fun cop. He's got a lot of smart ass humor, kind of like myself, and being in that realm. I have a lot of friends in law enforcement, so I kind of pull some of their stories and some of the lives and stuff that they've lived to kind of create this one character. So bringing him to the page has been a lot of fun for me.
Ooh, interesting. A detective. Okay. Well, so with this detective story, what is it? It's the stuff that dreams are made of. Sorry. That's a line from another classic piece of film / literature. Anybody ever seen the?
I also like writing the bad guys too. The bad guys are a lot of fun because you just get to kind of Yeah, that's have this guy do X, Y, or Z, and not really, in his world or her world, she's right, and they're doing the right thing for them, and those are kind of fun to kind of live in the dark space a little bit. Those are fun to write.
Hmm. Come on, Luke, join the dark side. It's really cool. Sorry, that's going back to Family Guy, hashtag not a sponsor of the show. But no, that's cool, man. I wish you the best with that detective story or detective thing you're putting together. So that's wonderful stuff. What about you, TG? I know you've only written 30 books, but I'm just curious. Do you have favorite character or characters? No, I'm just kidding. Favorite characters you've written so far in your young, up and coming career of writing?
Yeah, I go back and forth there. The Western novel, I had like four characters that I really fell in love with. But if I had to pick one, just overall out of my three books, I'd have to say Warren Lawson. He's also a police officer that works on the tribal reservation. I loosely based a lot of my own cases on the cases that he investigates, and so there's a slim slice of real life in that character, and he's just the right amount of smart ass with some he has some like moral ambiguity to him, and yeah, he's also kind of mirrors some of the bad guys that he hunts. He's not perfect, but he strives to do good at the same time. But he's got a lot of darkness within him as well. So there's a constant pull that he has. So not only is he in danger a lot of the times with the cases he investigates or the guys he has to hunt down and arrest for whatever crime they did, he's also at odds with himself, and he's battling the justice system a lot, and how frustrating that is for police officers. And yeah, so he's got the humor, he's got the action. He's a martial artist. He's a big CrossFitter, and that's two things I'm passionate about as well. So kind of like what Aaron was saying about his character, every time I dive back into that series with him, it just kind of flows because it just very much feels like a part of me, more than any other character out there. And yeah, so
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Laying down the law. No, I'm just, the words of our good friend Raylan. It was justified. Yeah. See, I can't.
Great show.
I know.
yeah, great
Darn
show.
right, it was a great show. What was it? 7 seasons it ran for?
Yes.
60 something like that? Dude, that's a solid show, man. If you don't know what a Western is, that's a good entry point, especially if you're into modern day stuff too. So, and Timothy Oliphant, you can never go wrong with him, man. That guy owns the screen no matter what he's in. So,
Yeah, I love those like rural law enforcement type of shows like that where it's kind of like a neo-western style where you're in modern day, but they're where I work in law enforcement, it's very much similar. So I found a lot of like things I could relate to as far as like the people he deals with in town, and that always made me chuckle watching Justified. So yeah, any type of show like that will hook me. Wind River, we spoke about that before, but a little bit different vibe. But I love those kind of small town shows where the stakes are high because like it's not normal for crime to happen in that town, so it almost ups the stakes, if that makes sense. So yeah.
yeah, good pick, man. And something that's also similar to that, not to get off too far off the rails here, but Longmire is another example of that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
he's got the jacket, the hat, he's got that Scruff McGruff voice,
Yeah. And Joe Pickett's another one by C.J. Box. He has a really good thriller series, and he does a really good job of like painting a good picture of what the environment is like, and it feels very much like a Western in modern day time too. So yeah, another good one to add to your growing list, Ryan, if you haven't read those ones.
Stop adding to my list, all three of you sick people. No, I'm just joshing you. I'm just joshing you. Once again, this is the Writer Showcase on the Anti Quote channel. Don't forget to like and share. Got any questions? Let us know in the chat. If you're watching us live, we're on Memorex. There's a throwback for you. Hello there. So, outside of the things you've written, Aaron, what is one book that belongs on everybody's bookshelf?
I'd probably have to go with one of my all-time favorite books, which is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I think everybody should read it. Anybody who says, "Oh, there's nothing going on in that book," probably hasn't read it properly. She was one of the best studies of human character. It's a drawing room novel. It very small scale in terms of how much space it takes up, but it is such an amazing look at the people and their lives and their interactions, and her word choice is just phenomenal. There's a reason the book is still read and loved today, all these years later.
Wow. I listen. Full disclosure, I've known Aaron for a good while here, but I never thought I'd hear the words Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. That is, but once again, I asked the question. You never know what you're going to get, right? It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And
Yeah.
clearly, Aaron's answer to the question was out of left field, in my opinion. But hey, nothing wrong with it. I mean, other people have mentioned on the show before how much they like Jane Austen and Pride and Prejudice, and certainly adaptations of it in the films and the TV series, and because it's been adapted so many times, right? And it's been
It has.
re-released as a hardcover or a paperback numerous times. I think everywhere I go, if not every bookstore, Aaron, or every time I go into Barnes and Noble, there's a revamped or re-released version of Pride and Prejudice. Am I right?
Yeah, and there's a reason for it. It's just, it is always a good read. Just never going to go out of style, that book.
About a year ago, our youngest daughter, she was carrying around the giant book of Jane Austen collection, and she was
geez.
sleeping with it. She couldn't even read yet, but she was like, "Where's my Jane Austen book?" I'm like,
No way.
I know where you put that thing, but she was attached to that thing. Took it to bed with her every night, and she would flip through the pages. Couldn't even read yet, but she was just like, "Yeah, this is my book."
Good for her. Good for her.
Oh
Starting
my
her off
God.
right.
Yeah. Let us know how her experience is when she actually starts reading it and starts understanding the language. I mean, good luck with that. It's going to take a minute, but still. Yeah, keep us in the loop, man. That's interesting stuff. Wow. Okay, Jane Austen's been mentioned not once but twice in one show. This is amazing stuff. I'm just glad. I mean, granted, I'll be the one to kind of break the mold here for just a second, but I'm glad no one brought up the horrible adaptation of Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. So, yeah,
I like that one more now. Yeah,
one of the worst ideas in cinematic history. My gosh, turning that book into into a zombie movie. What the frack is wrong with you people? See, honestly, TG, when I saw the trailer for that, whether I was in the theater or online on social media, I'm thinking to myself, is Hollywood really out of ideas? I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
They are out of ideas.
Honestly, I mean, and then before that, a couple years before that, TG, I don't know if you remember this or not, but they turned Abraham Lincoln into a vampire hunter.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And I'm like, what the heck is this?
Yeah,
that actually came out after, because Pride and Prejudice and
after?
Zombies was the start of that trend. So it was a joke book basically. Quirk Books that put it out does primarily humor books, and it was a fun, goofy little thing. And I don't, I'm a massive Jane Austen fan, obviously. I used to teach English. I taught Jane Austen. I don't have any problem with somebody coming along and saying, hey, let's do a fun little book and throw zombies into Jane Austen and what the hell. But of course it took off and nobody was expecting that. It became this huge thing. And so then you get Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, at least to its credit, was a solid storyline, as opposed to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, where they literally just introduced the zombies into the existing text. So at least Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was its own story. They wrote it from scratch. So I give them credit for that. But it was a huge trend, and I'm okay with the trend not being around as much anymore. I'm fine with that. But I saw Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and it was a goofy movie, and that's fine. It was an entertaining evening. I don't have anything bad to say about it, really.
Okay, fair enough. But the next time I'm at Barnes and Noble, I may have to pick up a copy of Pride and Prejudice.
Yes, the real one.
The real one, yeah. I'm talking about the original material.
Good.
I'm not talking about the zombie ripoff. No, that doesn't count. Hashtag Ryan says that's not canon. So, I mean, just like we always say, we talked about this movie many times before, not including the show, of course, but in other shows we've talked about. Hashtag Batman and Robin is not canon. So there you go. It's the same thing. It's the same exact
Fair
thing.
enough. Yes.
It is. Honestly, it really, really is. Because we did a 30th anniversary watch along a couple weeks ago, Aaron, for Batman Forever, and I like that movie because, and by the way, Val Kilmer, R.I.P. man, R.I.P. to Val Kilmer. But I can enjoy Batman Forever to a point, but I turn on Batman and Robin 2 seconds in. I'm like, nope. Hashtag not a movie. Hashtag never happened. Hashtag not canon. Hashtag not my Batman. You get the gist. DG Brown, save us from the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunters Oblivion. And please tell me, out of all the books in the world, what is one book in particular, not counting your own, that belongs on every single person's bookshelf in this world?
All right, I've been waiting to pop this thing open, so I didn't want to interrupt anybody with the can
It's
popping.
okay.
So yeah, I was like, I didn't know how loud it
All
would
right,
be.
we're
So,
gonna need a drink for this
so-
one, guys. All right, let me pop
no,
it open.
yeah, don't
Let's
worry, I'm
go.
not getting wasted. It's just an energy drink, guys. Chill.
It's Kool-Aid. Oh
Um,
yeah.
So, no, I think a book that belongs on everybody's bookshelf would have to be The Thicket by Joe Lansdale. I absolutely adore and love that book. It's a Western, kind of a coming of age story. It's about a young man he's about 17 years old. His sister gets kidnapped in a pretty bad circumstance, and he is on a mission to go get her back. And along the way, he meets certain people to help him because he's 17. He doesn't really know much about the West, and how cruel the world could be. And it's also set in a time that's like at the end of the Wild West era, like early 1900s type of era. And that's always a fascinating time to me too, because we were kind of half and half as a civilization. Some people still living like it was the Wild West, and other people ready for progression, And yeah, it's a coming of age story. It was a book that I had to go back and read again. And the audiobook is also great. So if you're into audiobooks, that it has that. The narrator is great. The dialogue is some of the best dialogue I've read in a Western. And it was one of those books that when I sat down, I instantly wanted to start studying it as a writer, because I was like, how did he do that so well? It was good on every level. And then it ends, of course, with a great finale that was super satisfying by the time you got to the final page. So lovable characters, a great message, a great theme throughout, woven throughout the story. So recommend that one to everybody, whether you're a fan of a Western or just fan of books in general. I think people would get something out of that book.
All right, man. Once again, the TBR list is out of control here at my studio. I just have too many things I'm gonna have to add to this thing. It's so sad. It's how crazy my life is. But James, you got a really good set of books behind you on your ridiculously good-looking brand new set with new microphones, new headsets, new monitors, new ring lights, and everything else. But I'm just curious, what is a book that belongs on everyone's bookshelf?
That's why I don't have it. It's sitting right in front of me. It's Cut Them Down by T.G. Brown. You gotta have it.
Oh, you come on.
I guess I'll throw it in for him.
My man.
For me, it's a book that's right. There you go. It's a book my dad gave me. It's one of his favorite books, and he just gave it to me 5 years ago or so. And that's Last of the Breed by Louis L'Amour. Classic survivalist, escaping Russia and out in the wilderness and surviving. Obviously it's sentimental because my dad said it was one of his favorite books and he gave it to me, so it was just kind of a nice moment between him and I. And it was fun because I got to then share with him Jack Carr and Savage Son, which is kind of his homage to that kind of subgenre in the thriller game. So I'll go with that one.
Good pick, man. Good pick. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to change my answer for dinner with an author. I'm going to have dinner with James here, man. This guy, he gets it. He gets it. So changing my answer. Sorry, Jack Carr. I got to go with Mr. Dawson over here.
Nice.
Oh boy, yeah, and then because he did such a good job of plugging this right here. So we want to sooner, and every time I see this book pop up on my feed or behind me here in the studio, all I think of is the Johnny Cash. Sooner or later, God's gonna cut you down. I got Johnny Cash on the brain, man. It's happens all the time. Good. Change my answer. Go James Lawson. All right. Yeah, we got some traveling to do, guys. We got to travel out west to go hang out with James Lawson, James Dawson. It'll be a great time. We'll get a steak dinner, or something like that. I don't know.
There would be a steak dinner for sure. Yeah,
it probably would. And I just quoted A League of Their Own right there. So there you go. It's a steak dinner, Dad, on you. Sorry, that's what's her name? That's Doris's character from A League of Their Own. That's Rosie O'Donnell's character. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. # one of the greatest baseball movies ever made. If you've never seen A League of Their Own, treat yourself. It's one of the best of all time. Tom Hanks, no crying in baseball speech. Come on, man.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing.
I was gonna say here.
I was just messing with you. I wanted to see if Ryan would have a coronary here.
You almost. I was like, where is he going with this? Get out of my head, man. No, I'm just. I can't stand this guy, TG. I don't know why we keep getting him back here. No, maybe it's because he boosts our ratings every time he walks through the door. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you, man. Once again, if you're wondering why we're laughing so hard and having such a good time, it's because it's the Writer Showcase, one of the best shows in the world here on Anti-Quote Channel. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions for these award-winning writers, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If you're watching this live or what is known as a replay, thank you so much for doing so. We cannot do this without you. Who is a writer that is still currently living on this earth that you hope to meet at a book signing or convention somewhere down the line, Aaron?
That's a good question. It's hard because I actually know a lot of the writers who I like to read. So, you know, I've met a lot of them. A lot of them I'm very lucky to call friends. Um, I think actually I'd probably say Raymond Feist. He's one of my favorite fantasy authors. Um, you know, I know him a little on Facebook, but we've never met in person. And he does such an amazing job of world building, character creation, magic systems, the whole thing. I think it'd be really, really interesting to sit down and talk worlds and magic and things with him.
All right, all right, all right. See, there's your McConaughey reference for the night. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, I had to do it once. Plus, it's one of my favorite movies. Dazed Confused. Come on, man. It's so good. TG, I hope you've seen that movie, because if you haven't, we can't be friends anymore. But I'm just curious, is there a writer you hope to meet at a book signing or an event that you haven't met as of yet?
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty because I'm still so new to this game. But yeah, no, I would say I'll have to change my answer here so I don't just.
Yeah, you can't say
myself.
James anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say James. Okay, Aaron. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would have to go with Lee Child. I think with his Jack Reacher books, that was like the first time I started, like when I was younger and I got introduced to the thriller genre. I want to say that one of the Jack Reacher's books was the first ones that got me into reading. And I was like, wow, these books are awesome. And Jack Reacher is just kicking so much like tail that I just wanted to just keep reading those books. And so I guess I would just like to just meet him because I see him on the interviews, you know, and he seems like a funny guy and like pretty laid back dude. And I was kind of like, yeah, that guy seems like he could be fun and it'd be a good time. So.
All right, so much for James Dawson for president. No, that's fine. We'll let it slide. We'll let it slide. What about you, James? Someone you hope to meet somewhere at an event or a book festival you haven't met yet?
Yeah, I was just kind of trying to think. I can't think of the guy's name, but actually that's popping up that I'd like to say. So I'm gonna go with I'll go with Stephen King. Just for being that prolific and having that much volume and being that well known, just kind of that whole like that's what a ride. I feel like every single thing that guy writes turns into a movie or a TV show, and there's so much out there. He's put out so much that there's just this is based off of Stephen King. It's the story you never heard of. You're like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. I haven't read a ton of his stuff, handful of books here or there, but I'll go Stephen King.
All right. I mean, he's only been around for like 100 years, so.
That's a really good answer, Jane, because I wasn't a big Stephen King fan until I met my wife because she was huge. But like what I've always respected about Stephen King is that he writes so many different genres so well. And yeah, I would be very curious to how he does that because I want to try it. I would like to do that at one point, but it's very difficult and he does it very well. He can change genres on a dime, it seems like. And yeah, I think that was a really good answer, James. That's another one I also am very, very interested in meeting hopefully one day.
Basically, TG is saying, I'm going to copy off of your book and your sheets of paper in front of you, James. I'm just going to copy all your answers.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you can see how long it took me to get through college. Nobody copied off of me ever. So it's.
Hey, man, like I said before, a lot of people go to college for 7 years. I know. They're called doctors. So,
yep, you know, exactly right.
It's all good, man. In your case, you went to school for 8 years, which is fine. Full disclosure, here's a little bit behind the scenes, and not to take this too far off the rails here, but I was part-time when I went to college. It took me 9 years to graduate with a bachelor's degree in electronic media and film, but I'm not ashamed of it. I took my time. I paced myself. I didn't want to overwhelm myself.
I wish it was just as simple as taking my time. It was 2 universities, 3 states, 5 community colleges.
Wow.
A lot of failing out, a lot of too much. Got to college. And I'm like, well, I don't have to go to class. There's other things to do. Like there's I can go play intramural sports all day long. Yeah, let's go do that. But yeah, I think I started when I got out of high school, went to Cal State Fullerton, and I flunked out after 3 semesters of the whole 11 credits, and one of those was advanced basketball. So yeah, it's took me a little while to get my feet under me for college education.
It's all good, man. The bottom line is you did it and you finished and you're the world champ. So, I'm telling you, you're money. You're so freaking money.
Yeah.
So you're like a big bear, man. So, it's
I lived.
Yeah, you could say that, or you could pull a JB legend James Bond where he says in that horrible hashtag not a real movie called Die Another Day, just surviving, Mr. Chang, just surviving. That's all we're doing. There you go. Full disclosure. I mean, listen, I grew up on Pierce's movies, but hashtag Die Another Day never happened. It's bad. It's bad. And this is coming from a big Bond fan, but I'm sorry, Pierce. It wasn't your fault. It was bad writing, bad just bad everything all around. But hey, you had a cast that did the best they could with what they had, right? I mean, what's her Oscar winner Halle Berry was in that flipping movie. So, I mean, you got Jinx, which I can't believe you named your character. Then again, it's James Bond. There's double entendres. There's all this different weird stuff going on at the same time. It's just, it's odd. But, maybe I remind you, 007, that you have a license to kill, not to break the traffic laws. I wouldn't think of it. Good. Sorry, that's from hashtag my favorite movie, GoldenEye, that turns 30 later this year. Oh, I'm dating myself. I'm so old for this. But, just throwing it out there. Well, I'm trying to think. Did I miss any? Did I miss anybody? Did everybody answer that question? About who we want to meet somewhere down the line that we haven't met yet? Did I answer everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't miss something here. Good Lord. Yeah, by the way, if I had to answer the question, I'm just going to say James Dawson. It's the easiest answer to say. No,
Makes sense.
Yeah, I want to change
yeah,
my answer now.
We're going to have a great time.
Yeah, we're going to change our answers here at the end of the show. I'll clip it out and re-edit this thing at the end. But it's funny you bring up Stephen King because a gentleman, a good friend of ours, and we're actually going to mention him here towards the end of the show, Lou Tambone mentioned that he says, look, if you're going to read anybody, you should really read Stephen King. And I said, really? Where should I start? He's like, start from the very beginning of his career. The Salem Slots, the Stans, the Christines, the Carries, the Gunslinger, which is part of the Dark Tower series, if I'm not mistaken, the Gunslinger, right? So he recommended all those books and added two in the Dead Zone. He mentioned the Dead Zone. I think it was another one. So I added some of those books to my wish list on thriftbooks.com, fellas. So there you go. It'll happen at one point. It'll happen. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, folks, but it may happen at some point. I'm just throwing it out there as a for instance. Good Lord, so many things to do, so little time. Well, with that being said, I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to you for being here and to thank all of our panelists for being guests on this episode of the Writer Showcase. Boy, this has been one heck of a ride, and we learned more things than I thought I was ever going to learn. And the dogs agree with me because I hear the dogs in the background of somebody's studio saying, "Who let my dog out?" Honestly, somebody needs to let those dogs out and have some fun in the sun or the parking lot, in the grass, in the backyard, whatever it is. I don't know. But aside from that, Aaron, if someone wants to know more about you and the incredible things you and your fine folks at Crazy 8 Press are doing over there, where can they follow you?
Well, they can follow me at griffinrose.com, which is on the bottom of my screen. They can follow Crazy 8 at crazy8press.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, good sir, for being with us and being a part of this episode. We could not have done this without. You're a gentleman and a scholar, and we wish you and the wonderful crew over there at Crazy 8 Press the absolute best with everything they got moving forward.
Thank you very much.
So, just want to give you some kudos, as one might say. I'm going to talk to you here again momentarily, Aaron. So in the words of our good friend Arnold, stick around. T.T. Brown, my man. Just curious. If someone wants to know more about you and the 3.5 books that you've written so far, because you teased one on Instagram earlier today. It's like, oh, it's in the first round, guys. It's in the first round of edits. We're doing it. But if someone wants to know more about you, for argument's sake, where can they follow you on social media, including your CrossFit routines?
First place to find me is at my website, www.tgbrownbooks.com. I can be found on Instagram, tgbrown_books, and then on Facebook, tgbrown. I'm pretty open. If you guys want to follow me up there, if you guys got questions, things like that, feel free to hit me up.
Sounds like a wonderful idea, and we're behind you 1,002%. No, that's not a real number, but we're going to use it anyway. I don't think they use it in CrossFit, but we're going to use it here in Fantasyland. James Dawson, good sir. If someone wants to know more about you and the incredible things you're doing over there, where can they follow you on social media?
James Dawson Writes. That's not right as in I am right. It's in Wrights, pen and paper, Writes. I think I spelled that correctly. No spell check in the verbal word. So James Dawson Wright, Instagram. There's some TikTok out there as well. Yeah, that's the place. And then jamesdawsonwrites.com is my website. Got a couple of short stories up there. One's called Jade Sunset. That's about a heist involving the Barbara Hutton jadeite necklace. There's also a little some Paul Newman Rolex watches in that story as well. It's kind of a fun yarn. And then another one called Death by Stand-Up about a stand-up serial killer on the loose in New Orleans. So a couple of short stories there you can check out on my website. And yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Well, thank you, kind sir, for being with us. Do greatly appreciate it. And one thing I almost forgot to bring up here, Aaron, I'm going to bring you up here again. Tell us about this Kickstarter that's going on right now called Shakespeare Adjacent. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is a book that Lou Tambone's put together. It's currently on Kickstarter. It's got 3 days left. And basically, each of the authors involved, I'm one of them, we got the opportunity to reimagine one or more of our favorite Shakespeare plays and to interpret it however we wanted in terms of genre, also in terms of format. My particular one in here is a combination of Titus Andronicus and As You Like It, done as a modern day spy thriller. So very, very strange imaginings, things you would not have thought of yourself, probably things I would not have thought of looking at the other authors who've done things in here. It's going to be a lot of fun to read. So, yep, and we are, I think, 3/4 of the way to our funding goal. So hoping to push it over the edge.
Definitely. And we took the liberty of posting the link to the Kickstarter campaign in the comment section of this video on our Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube platforms. So check out the link. It's there. Back the campaign if you're able to. But if you're not able to back it, just share the link. Share it out to all your friends. Tell your neighbors about it. Tell your coworkers if you work for a bookstore or an indie publisher. Tell them about it. I think they would enjoy it. I'm excited. I'm excied to get my hands on this book. I backed the campaign. I backed the paperback version of this because I prefer physical media.
Yep.
So yeah, I backed it. So don't worry, I got you, man. We got this. So yeah, links in the comment section. So make sure you check that out. Aaron, I'm going to speak to you here again here momentarily. So stick around. My name is Ryan Van. I quote channel. Follow me across all forms of social media. Simply at where am I pointing to? Where is it? There it is. At And I Quote channel. That's where we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Thank you all for your support. We cannot do this without you. Thank you for enjoying this. I hope you enjoy this episode. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Writer Showcase. We're coming up on 5,000 subscribers. Once we do, we'll throw a live stream celebration that we'll have special giveaways that you, the person who's watching or listening to this right now, are going to be eligible to win. We also got merch. We got hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs, stationery, bed sheets, shower curtains, all kinds of wonderful things in my link tree. It's also in our social media bio, so check it out there. Everything's on sale too, so treat yourself. I'm just saying. Doesn't hurt. By the way, James, myself, and a bunch of other writers are going to be publishing Veritas Entertainment's Western Tales Volume 1. It's a Western-themed anthology coming out on Tuesday, July the 22nd, 2025. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to debut as a writer. I got my first short story that's going to be published. This is the first time I'm ever going to be published. That's kind of a big deal. That's a nice little feather to have in one's cap. But congratulations to all the other writers who are going to be a part of this anthology. I'm excited to read your stories as well. We're excited to get this anthology out to the world. It's going to be it's available for pre-order right now on Amazon. So go to Amazon, type in Veritas Entertainment, type in Western Tales Volume 1 in the search bar. It is available right now for pre-order on ebook. It's going to be available for hardcover, paperback, July 22nd, 2025. In the words of our good friend T.G. Brown, saddle up. Saddle up, guys. But I'm going to go with my instincts on this one. Saddle up, partner. Sorry, I said it 3 times, but I have to say it. So with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
A mission for the police. A mysterious passenger. Mitch Mayhew is carrying more than the mail this flight. Unwanted Passenger is a roaring, prop-spinning, pulse-pounding historical thriller for fans of aerial stunts, flapper-era intrigue, and reluctant heroes with debts to pay and demons to outrun. Order your copy of Unwanted Passenger today.
There it is. Luckily for you, you won't have to go through half of what I went through to get your copy. All you have to do is place an order. Treasure is My Trade is out now. Don't miss your chance.
All right, I'm a little tired, I'm a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.